Canonically, Fortnite is important to understanding the plot. You all right?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
Do you like Star Wars?
You see all those books right there?
Yeah.
Those belong to me.
Those are his.
Every single one.
Okay.
All these and these.
Yeah, those,
These are him.
those comics also belong to me.
So you fuck
Like,
with Star Wars?
Star
I-
Wars is my thing.
I claim to be like a Star Wars fan. I enjoy Star Wars. I'm into the extended universe. This guy is that, but more.
Yeah, you know what? I used to think that you were like the biggest Star Wars fan in the place.
No,
Now I'm
absolutely
actually, with you admitting it, wow.
No,
Damn.
I like Star Wars. I like Star Wars a lot. I enjoy the extended universe. I watch a lot of the supplementary stuff. I have not read all of these.
No.
I have read a couple of these.
Yeah.
I have read all of those.
I think it would be to your detriment to read everything in the EU if I'm gonna be if I'm
I certainly
being
haven't
that
read
guy.
everything in the EU.
But what we have all done is watch Rise of Skywalker,
Rise of Skywalker.
Yes,
which was always a questionable name.
Yeah, I never liked the name.
It was a
As soon
weird
as it came
name.
out.
Yeah, no, it is a weird name. It is not necessarily an accurate name, I guess.
Yeah, it's,
But we should say right off the bat, we're gonna do the usual thing, I think, of no spoilers.
no
and then
spoilers at the start,
after-
and then we'll mark something like we'll let you know when we're doing spoilers.
There will be a link where you can click and just like see the time code.
Yeah.
YouTube lets you click on time codes.
So let's start
Yeah.
this out. First impressions. I did not hate it, but I did not love it. I find it hard to say that I liked it. I liked a lot of parts of it.
This is generally what I would call a mixed bag.
The mixedest of bags.
And yeah, just to be clear to the audience, we made a pact that we would not tell each other what we thought until we showed up here and sat down to review. So we have not heard each other's thoughts yet.
I will say this, as a sequel to The Last Jedi, it is awful.
Oh yeah.
I think that's fair to say.
Going from where that left to where this begins and goes, bad. This, which would make me say this entire trilogy is bad.
Bad at being a trilogy.
Bad at being a series of movies that you would watch sequentially.
Yeah, they do a lot of things in this film that go very counter to the last film.
They undo a lot of things.
It felt like course correction is what it felt like, and some other people have said that, and you feel it very quickly. And one thing I don't want to spoil, but one thing something that is throughout the entire film is there are certain characters that have reduced screen time,
and I'm fine with that. But that is more of a course correction. But there are things that this movie straight up retcons from The Last Jedi. I'll get into that when we get into spoilers.
I think we should veer away from this.
But
angle
I'm just saying that there are if you're going into this expecting full continuity, it's not.
If you were like me and Scott and you love The Last Jedi, this will probably not do what you would hope.
Which, by the way, for all of you people who hate The Last Jedi, you are totally allowed to. I understand.
I don't care.
Yeah, if you don't like
the only
that
time
film,
I care when people hate Last Jedi is when they show up and tell me I'm wrong for liking the movie.
Yeah.
No, opinions are opinions.
Yeah.
We are giving opinions.
If you hate that movie, I mean, go for it. Because you know what? I fucking hate this movie.
Oh, you hated this.
I hate
Okay,
it.
here we go.
Dang! It is garbage.
I was sitting next to you, and you were like stone faced. I think I remember the moment you died in the movie. Actually,
What's that?
I'm not going to say
Okay.
at
Oh,
the
yeah,
moment,
well, we get spoilers. Okay.
but
You
there was
tell me
a
when.
point where you just went.
Yeah,
And you like watched from like neck down, and you did not recover
I took notes just to make sure, because it's
Good.
a lot of movie.
Yeah.
It is. It is very much movie, and the first act is a fucking sprint. Like they are throwing so much at you because it's like, hey, here's this. Yeah. Okay, now's the plot.
You want a scene that lasts more than 2 minutes? Fuck you, not happening.
So I made a list of good and bad things because I always try to be fair when I'm discussing a movie. I take film criticism very seriously. Good things. Visually, the movie looks generally good.
Yeah, I think it's very well shot.
It's not as pretty as Last Jedi, but they had a really good cinematography.
There are certainly visually striking moments in the movie that I can appreciate.
Yeah.
I was surprised by how good some of the animal work was in this one. Like there are these horses in the movie. It blew my mind. I haven't seen such realistic.
They put prosthetics on these
Yeah.
creatures.
Yeah, as is always the case in Star Wars, production design, great. It's always great. Star Wars never has bad production design. This never happened. So I think a lot of the dialogue in Mantor, actually, I hate this story, but the back and forth, I thought it was very fun and good and created a nice sense of camaraderie.
At the very least, you can always say it felt way more natural than the prequels.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
A lot of very natural dialogue, and that's what I want out of Star Wars. The acting, generally, they did a good job with what they had.
Yeah. I don't think the performances have ever really been an issue in this trilogy.
Yeah, and the other stuff in the good is specific spoilery stuff, so I won't get into that.
Okay, so where are the nits that you wish to pick on this bloated horse?
The script in general is really overstuffed and completely unfocused.
Yep.
Yeah.
The movie just bounces between things.
There are parts that are focused. There is a through line in there.
Yeah.
It's just there's a lot of stuff around it.
This is a 6-act movie.
Oh God.
Also, on top of the script problems, the editing is really manic.
Yeah, especially in the beginning.
It's obvious that they edited a movie. It was 3.5 hours long or something, and then they cut that movie.
The beginning is like I said.
It's breakneck.
I wanted a nap after the first 45 minutes of that movie. I'm just like,
I got a headache.
Shit, what is happening?
By the time we got to Rey, I was already exhausted, dude.
But she's at like minute 3.
I know.
And so, as a result of the script problems and the editing problems, the pacing is just fucking insane in this movie. A lot of people I've seen online have described this movie as 2 movies in one. Absolutely, that is absolutely what's going on.
It was the sequel JJ wanted to make for The Force Awakens, and then the ending that he wanted.
Seems like it, and it's like, all right.
Well, let's be honest. One of the biggest problems with this trilogy is it really didn't have a whole lot of this trilogy in general did not have a lot of creative oversight. There was no one mind to link all of it.
This is a problem where, like, for instance, the original trilogy went by the seat of its pants.
Yeah, I think that's
mostly
okay.
worked. It mostly worked. The problem here, I think, is J.J. Abrams set up this trilogy with mysteries that he didn't actually have answers to. And then in this movie, it's pretty obvious that he didn't have answers, but felt compelled to come up with some.
Yeah, like one thing that I always kind of thought was going to happen here, especially after I saw The Last Jedi, I thought there was some sort of brilliance in Disney marketing here, because what I thought they were doing is by leaving so many of these questions unanswered, you're literally creating the super fans that absorb that media to find out, oh, where did this guy come from? Oh, I better watch The Mandalorian to figure out how this got started.
Another note on here is characters and arcs are introduced and resolved at seemingly random intervals.
Yeah, they're like 2 or 3 characters that get introduced in this movie and have a full resolution or a what if we continued this in a side hustle kind of thing.
Within the span of like 20 minutes, like characters get introduced and then resolved, and it feels really weird. And this is a result of that. The cast is really huge, and it makes everything really cluttered and overstuffed again. This movie has a problem with it should have focused on something more intimate.
Yeah.
Yes, I 100% agree.
I felt like it was trying. I felt like it was trying to. This movie, I think, did one thing that I liked better than The Last Jedi. One thing very specific, and it's kind of a big thing. It focused more on just a core group of people traveling around, and it focused more on the relationship between Rey and Kylo, which was what they were building.
And that is an aspect I liked about it.
Yeah.
I just didn't like everything surrounding that.
I've got to say something. They try so hard. So this is ridiculous. Fucking Brian was there. He started laughing when they introduced the thing to make this the big fucking deal. You know what it is. They introduced something. We'll go into spoilers.
I was sitting next to him. He was audibly sighing at a lot of points.
And I just sunk into my seat. They try so hard to make this bigger than it needed to be, to the point where I couldn't.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And my last point is something where it's smaller, but I still think it affects how the movie feels. This isn't a spoiler.
If you haven't seen any media for this, this is where spoilers begin.
Yeah.
But
all the Leia scenes were extremely awkward.
Yep. Yeah.
Extremely awkward.
Yeah.
I could see the seams constantly.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because it's me. And like I'm an editor, I know this stuff, but like you could see that they had lines and they forced them in.
They had footage. And now we need to find a way to wrap that up, because guess what? We don't have the rest of it.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to say that was the wrong creative decision to make.
Probably.
She should have been passed away in this movie.
She probably just should have been gone. Like they could
wanted
have
to give
opened
her a big dramatic death, right? They wanted her to feel like she had something to do, but and this is a thing where they had a plan and it got fucked up. This was supposed to be Leia's movie.
From the very beginning of this movie, the opening crawl was
bonkers.
It begins with the one sentence that's like, here we fucking go.
Yeah, no.
Here we fucking go.
Which, by the way, I want to point out was something that happened in Fortnite.
Did they do that?
Yes, they did that.
They revealed it in Fortnite?
They did that.
I know they had an event.
It happened in Fortnite.
Canonically, Fortnite is important to understanding the plot fully. Our spoiler-free review is...
my opinion is I'm on, like, if I were to
Seems
give
like
it a...
coming to terms still.
I am. This is going to be something where I'll probably watch it again at home. This is going to be the first Star Wars movie I don't see a second time in theaters, if that's any indication.
That's a big indication.
But I did not hate it. I did not love it. I think I liked more than I hated. So I'd probably... weirdly enough, rank this just under The Last Jedi, but still above Solo, Clone Wars, and The Phantom Menace.
Okay.
So I think the prequels are all bad. I think Rogue One is a terribly flawed film that was disappointing. Solo is just a farce. It's got some good parts and some bad parts. This movie, for me, is better than any of the prequels, better than Solo, better than Rogue One, and worse than literally every other Star Wars major film. And that is largely because it is a mixed bag. I teared up at a couple moments. I was actually moved by a couple of moments.
I felt zero emotion throughout this movie.
And that's fair. That's fair. But the bad stuff, oh my God. Oh my God. This is a mess. It's a mess. This movie's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's fair to say. Even people who like this movie, I think, agree that it's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
So that's I need to get mine.
Yeah.
Fuck this movie.
You started by saying you hated it.
I do not like it. I like things in it. I wish those things were surrounded by good things. I have a big problem with just the overall what this film was trying to do, I think, which we will get into more in spoilers. But honestly, it's one of those things where if you remember the EU fondly and you miss shit like this specifically, you will love, like tonally, that is what this movie is. It is the Dark Empire comic books.
Yeah.
Which people's feelings on those are complicated depending on who you're talking to, and that's also what this movie is.
That's fair. I mean, there's going to be a billion different opinions. I don't think there is going to be a common consensus on this movie. I don't think it's going to be universally beloved.
People will be split.
It's
forever.
Yeah. I think you're going to get the same noisy people that absolutely hated it, that hated The Last Jedi, that thereby made this movie what it was, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So I think the general response to people who hated The Last Jedi are going to find this film marginally better. But I would be honestly surprised if somebody who hated The Last Jedi actually unabashedly loves this movie.
Because, I think this is a movie where I love The Last Jedi. I also think it has flaws that I think could have been fixed with another rewrite.
The go nowhere B plot which
You could have.
I would argue it doesn't go nowhere, but this isn't about Last
Yeah,
Jedi.
that's fair.
But I think this movie, unfortunately, on surface level tries to fix things in Last Jedi. I think it suffers from a lot of worse versions of the problems people had with Last Jedi in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into with spoilers.
Which let's
do that.
yeah, we're 20 minutes in, so let's spoilers.
begin now.
Yeah.
So like this.
Well, here, let's go back to the thing. What point do you think I lost faith in this
Yes,
movie
I'm
completely?
so curious. I
Okay.
wasn't able to see his response.
So, as I was sitting next to you, first of all, it was very obvious to everybody in the theater that first act, like the opening shit, was just, oh my fucking god.
Yeah, exhausting.
But the part where I feel like you absolutely crashed, it was relatively early in the movie. I'm trying to pinpoint the exact moment in the movie when that happened. It might... God, it's hard to say. It's kind of hard to say. I remember you deflating, but I can't remember exactly what was happening on screen when it happened.
I can tell you what I think you're talking about, and I think you might be right.
Okay.
As soon as Kylo Ren says you're a Palpatine.
Yeah, okay. And that
That
was
so hard.
fairly early.
Yeah, that was early in the movie.
Yeah, Rey Palpatine, which I'm okay with.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
I did not hate it. I am fine knowing that the Emperor was fucking.
I don't mind the Emperor having kids. I mind that.
Just
yeah.
his wrinkly, because this had to be when he was the Emperor. His wrinkly fucking body's like, yeah, you like it, don't you?
Well, and I think it's emblematic of the core biggest problem with this movie for me on a story level, which is what the fuck is Palpatine doing in this movie?
Yeah,
they
that's
built the movie
fair.
around him, and he also still does not belong in it.
That's fair. Like the opening crawl says like, the ghosts, the dead are alive, the dead are
The
alive.
dead speak.
Yeah, the dead speak.
First line.
It was it's literally an opening to a Clone Wars episode. Like I could hear the voice, the dead speak. Off
Exactly.
on the land of blah
Which,
blah blah.
that's always what they've been.
Yeah.
But this one is particularly like, oh, off screen, Emperor Palpatine's alive. And also sending out messages.
Also, we've invented a new planet in the outer, like in the unknown
It's
sector.
always been there.
It's always been there, and it's the home of the Sith. Fuck Korriban,
Yeah.
or you know when we
I
renamed
heard
it
you.
Moraban.
They said, oh, it's a legendary home of the Sith. And you're like, you actually said no?
You mean Korriban?
Yeah.
The thing that has been so ingrained
Why couldn't
in
it
the
just-
Sith and the.
And
Why
like,
couldn't it
Why
be?
couldn't it just be Korriban?
Or as they renamed it in the Clone Wars, Moraban.
That's fine too.
I'm cool with
Why
that.
not either of those? Like, why did you have to make a new planet with a worse name?
The only reason, like, if they had said anything, like, if they had just said, you know, it's not the home of the Sith, but, like, you know, this is just where he's hiding out, that's fine. There's a lot of shit out there about the unknown regions of, like, you know, the frontier space. That's where the Chiss come from. That's where a whole bunch of things come from. It's cool
Yeah.
that he'd be out there doing some shit.
Yeah, like
I'm fine with that.
yeah, it's just fucking. Palpatine is core to all the worst things in this movie for me. Like, yeah, the pacing's an issue. I can survive off pacing. I've survived weird pacing in Last Jedi.
I think this pacing was way
it's way
weirder.
worse. Yeah, absolutely. Last Jedi takes its time, and that's the pacing issue. And I'll take that over Too Fast any
Absolutely,
day.
actually. Like, the fact that this movie was still 2.5 hours long, and it, like, the beginning was so fucking rushed.
Yeah.
You go from,
and it establishes the main thread of the movie. And
Yeah.
It's fucking insane.
you go from Finn and,
no, it starts
Poe.
with Kylo Ren. He's the first
oh,
thing
that's
you see.
right. Yeah. It starts with Kylo Ren running around the woods, stabbing random people.
It starts
He
with
gets-
Kylo Ren stabbing a bunch of people,
and he
taking
gets
the
a Sith
Wayfinder.
holocron.
Yeah.
Which is the first time you ever see an actual holocron on
Yeah.
screen, even though it's not a holocron.
It's a
And then
Wayfinder.
immediately
He
goes
goes-
to this fucking
yeah.
planet where
And then Palpatine's just there.
is. And Palpatine's just, hey, Palpatine's at the beginning of the movie.
And he has a whole, like, a stadium of cultists.
Yeah, and Kylo Ren's like, I killed Snoke. I'm kill you.
I made Snoke. I am every voice you have ever heard.
He literally made Snoke. He's got a vat of house.
He has vats of Snoke.
there's other
He's got Snoke clones.
They're just in jars. Just, That's why I'm doing wave.
Yeah, it's fucking yeah. The opening movie is where I'm like, oh god,
The implications here. No, which, by the way, one of the few times this movie decides to show not tell. Yeah, you were supposed to just assume. Oh, that's what Snoke is. He was a clone made by
He was a
Palpatine.
failed
Okay,
clone.
well,
Yeah,
later they're
that's
like,
always what I thought he was.
yeah, no, and that's. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but it's really bonkers to just bring it up out of nowhere.
Why were they all weird and mutated though?
because
Did they all have to have weird mungy butthole mouths?
Don't call it that.
It is a butt. It's
a butthole
He's
mouth.
Arseface from Preacher.
So
Just like Mas Kamada's butthole eyes.
So is cloning technology just really fucked in that?
They
No,
specifically brought it up.
Yeah.
They said, oh, cloning technology, stuff only Sith have.
What?
Why?
What
I mean,
happened
the
to
Empire.
Genosis?
To be fair, the Empire had cloning technology.
The Republic had it, and they disbanded it as soon as the Empire came
clone
in.
things. No, the people of Camino came up with cloning. What are you talking about?
The Republic used it. The Jedi fought alongside clones forever.
You don't have to love the prequels to just not directly.
The Clone Wars is some of my favorite Star Wars ever.
I'm willing to say I might be missing something, but they said stuff only Sith have. There's been no Sith since the Empire fell, and cloning existed without Sith before that. So what the fuck are you talking about?
It kind of existed without the Sith. I mean, you still the
Kaminoans weren't Sith.
No, the Kaminoans weren't Sith, but a lot of the cloning stuff was funded, and as far as I remember,
It was funded by
because of-
actual Jedi.
It was funded by Jedi at the behest of Dooku.
Sith didn't come up with cloning. Is my point.
Yeah.
Well, the phrasing is stupid.
Yeah, it's
because
really bad.
they just needed to say.
I like that Charlie from Lost said it though.
Yeah.
I liked seeing him.
I
It's
was
fun.
I was too distracted by the fact that the cop from Heroes is in there.
Oh,
Matt
Greg
Parkman?
Grunberg.
Yeah, I couldn't get over that, and I know
You
that's,
said his
that's-
actual name. I said his hero's name.
Greg Grunberg is his name.
Yeah, I love him, and I was just happy to see him back in there. And it took me a minute. I'm like, who the fuck is that? It's the cop.
Yeah, he was in
Force Awakens too.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
It's been so
They
long.
killed him in this movie. It's like, no, Greg Grunberg.
Porkins. Yeah, no, it's
He got the
exactly what that
Porkins
is.
part.
And the movie starts fucking insane right off the bat.
Yeah, immediately. They immediately go to Palpatine, and he looks better than he did as the Emperor. Just blind.
Yeah. Well, and like,
So getting thrown down into a exploding nuclear reactor did wonders for him.
Lot of questions there, by the way. A lot of questions.
Yeah.
Lot of never answered.
yeah. Despite all that, I decided to step back and say, okay, let's see if the movie can make this.
I was
work.
fine with honestly.
I did not want that to happen, yet I still said, let's see if this movie can make this work. And for a while, it's too fast, but it's doing stuff that's okay.
Yeah,
right?
actually, I agree. In the first half of this movie, I was like, oh
Okay.
my God.
I'm having
not
some fun.
Yeah, I was like, where are they going with this? I'm not hating this. It's obviously sloppy. It is sloppy.
Like Rey's training, Leia's been the person training her, which conceptually I like that.
Can I get to my first retcon?
Oh, go ahead.
Luke's lightsaber, Anakin's lightsaber, exploded
Yes.
in The Last Jedi.
Yes.
It exploded.
Yeah, for the record, it did. It was in half.
They were having a force tug of war, and it
It was
exploded.
fucking in half, and they just sort of forget. And they don't explain why it's together. It doesn't look like it was welded back together. It's perfect.
It is pristine.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Here's the thing that bugs me. Like, it's a small thing, but it's important to me. They show off at the very end of the movie that Rey does have her own lightsaber now. She built her own.
Somewhere.
Yeah, which I love that she built her own lightsaber,
That's
and
cool.
I love the way it looks.
Would have been
I like
great
that-
if they did that in between the movies.
In the beginning of the movie, show her with her own lightsaber. That's what Jedi do.
She should have always, they've implied so long, so she's been fighting with a bow staff that she'd wield a dual-bladed lightsaber. And I was looking forward to actually seeing that.
I don't really care about that part. But
I mean, I think it would have been cool to have a good guy Jedi that does that.
Actually, I like the idea that it was at the end. If I had to be honest, like as a character building, as part of the character.
I think if it didn't happen at the end, it should have happened at the beginning because she didn't have a fucking lightsaber at the end of The Last Jedi.
or at the very least, they introduce that Leia
had
My
one.
lightsaber, for some reason, it's on Octo.
She was training with Luke, and I actually kind of liked
don't know
that
why he took
flashback
it, though.
scene. The digital effects were weird, but
Why did he take the lightsaber to
well,
Octo?
he because she gave it to him, she's like, I can't hold this, and he's just like, well, what the fuck am I gonna do with it? I don't know.
The CGI was a bit dodgy, but I actually liked the quick flashback to the past.
I thought it was, and I thought the CGI was fine due to the lighting. It like
they
it's
did their
still
best.
super uncanny.
They did their best. I don't hold that against them.
Yeah.
Oh my god, her death scene is the worst. It is really, really, really
Yeah,
bad.
because they didn't have anything for it. They just had to have like Ben be like, Kylo be like, Mommy?
Well, and moreover, what's the little alien with the glasses? I always forget her name.
Masquerada.
Yeah, she's the one that points it out. She's the one who's like, Leia knows what she has to do.
Out of her, and then she's gonna die.
Yeah. Oh no, you know what? Thanks.
To be
Thanks
fair,
for explaining the scene that's about to happen.
I know they shouldn't have had to have explained it because, I mean, it's gonna fucking happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I'm okay with her knowing that it's going to happen because she's always seemed like she's always been implied to be force sensitive.
Oh yeah, and it's a really bad scene.
There are a lot of
bad.
really bad scenes.
It's one of those things where creatively the best choice was to unfortunately have her be dead when the movie starts.
Yeah.
And just have that be part of the story, right? Like, everyone's fucking bummed. Poe doesn't know how to lead, which they do that. They do. Poe, like, I don't know how to lead without Leia. Do that at the beginning of the movie. Have him have a whole arc for the whole movie instead of halfway through.
Him and his weird like ramshackle platoon of what should have been a dozen people, as was implied by the end of the last one, but seemed to be a bit more.
Yeah, the movie simultaneously has the rebellion be seemingly working in full force and also too understaffed, just like it was at Last Jedi. Pick one!
Yeah.
And here we come to like the first moment where I'm just like, holy shit, what the fuck? How, where, what? The Last Order. When Palpatine uses his super Sith powers to lift
my God!
1,000 Star Destroyers. Do you know how many crew it takes to man a Star Destroyer? 37,000.
Okay.
37,000.
37,000!
37,000 times 1,000 is... How do you get that many people? How many
secret?
Do you know how many Snoke clones there are pushing buttons on those?
Yeah, that's the thing. We never see the faces of the people in robes. Are they all Snokes? Is every single one a Snoke guy being like, I guess I didn't get to be the Supreme Chancellor one. I just get to Supreme Leader. I get to be
this
hang
button now.
Oh my God.
And we're going to blow up
just
this
a bunch of Andy
planet.
Serkises out there.
Yeah, you know what? I think there was maybe 30,000 actual, like, regular people manning all of these, and the rest of the crew for all of them were snow clones. That's canon.
Do you think everybody in those robes in his stadium were Snokes?
Yes,
Which
100%.
And also, like, yeah, a whole bunch of guys, nameless guys, show up. They're just around.
They're in
You
a
don't see their
stadium
faces.
chanting.
By the way, you.
This is third act.
Yeah,
by the
this
way.
is.
This
Yeah,
is the part
we're
that
gonna,
I
we're gonna
liked.
jump around. We're gonna jump around, but I just want to cover real quick. So they put Palpatine in this movie, and maybe you're like, oh well, if you want to have Kylo Ren,
I turned my brain off
Yeah.
way before the third act.
If you want to have Kylo Ren have a redemption arc, you got to have a new villain, I guess. And it's like,
No, you don't.
you don't, for one, because the Knights of Ren exist. They're brought up in the first movie. They're
do
barely in this movie.
Do the Knights of Ren actually exist? Because they're in two scenes.
What's his relationship with
The Knights
with Kylo Ren? Who knows?
The Knights of Ren should have been who I thought they were in The Last Jedi. The guys that were guarding Snoke. That's who they should
They
have
could
been.
have been, or they
because-
could have just been like that. You could have had a movie built around, hey, Kylo Ren's with this whole cult, and he's leading them, but also he's not quite with them.
Implied, or actually outright
That they were with
stated
him.
by Luke, that he took some of the Jedi from his school with
There's
him.
a story there, and they just skipped over it.
Yeah.
An actually interesting story instead of just Palpatine's back again.
The Knights
Palpatine's
of Ren.
back in. Here are the Knights of Ren. Here's a shot of them standing in the desert. Here's a shot of them walking off a ship.
They don't
Here's
do
a
anything.
shot of them walking in a cave. Here's...
Kylo Ren kills them.
Yeah, Kylo killed him.
They don't say a single fucking word.
They don't.
Nope.
Not a single
They show
word.
no allegiance. They show no personality.
You know-
They have weapons and they barely use
You know who
them.
got more characterization and they were in literally one shot?
Who?
Wedge Antilles.
Oh my God, he was.
In one shot.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he had more character than any of the Knights of Ren. They're around the whole movie.
They were. They showed up on every every single one of the, I think, half a dozen planets that they went to in this movie.
And they have no personality.
They're really only in 2 scenes. One where they're like the Knights of Ren, and then
they're in a lot of establishing shots.
They're in a bunch of shots, but they only actually serve the scene twice.
It's so frustrating because you could have built an entire third act around, all right, it's Kylo Ren and these Sith guys. They're all out there. That's really dangerous. There's only one Jedi.
The biggest problem was the fact that they mentioned them in the first movie and never mentioned them in the second movie.
Yeah. See,
Nope.
and that's one of the small problems I actually have with Last Jedi. I think they should have been around.
Yes.
And maybe not even killed in that movie, but established.
They should have been their version of whatever the Sith Inquisitor was. Just these lower ranking, like these lower versions of Kylo.
Oh yeah, the Last Jedi.
The thing is, like, this movie still, like, it wasn't ruined. This movie could have established them as characters and a threat. Like, there's a whole movie to do it. Instead, you build around Palpatine and try to shove every fucking thing. Oh my god!
It felt like bad fan fiction.
You literally facepalmed.
Yes.
You literally facepalmed at a point.
Yes.
Do you remember what it was?
I'm trying to
It was
remember.
at the very end of the movie.
It was. I facepalmed a couple of times.
There's one point though where like Brian was laughing really loud and you were like, "Oh my god!"
I'll tell you.
Hold on. Let's
Go ahead.
do this first. There was one point where I facepalmed, but I immediately was like, you know what, fine. And that was when all of these Star Destroyers are Death Stars.
Yep! Oh my fucking god, that is the dumbest fucking thing. I'm sorry, can I take a moment? Oh,
Yeah, do it,
what
do it.
the fuck? Why would you
I was
have
gonna do
all the
this too.
Star Destroyers? Why would you give them all planet-destroying weapons? This
Because-
is ridiculous. I understand
From
that
a story standpoint.
Yes, from a story standpoint, because
fine.
what they wanted to do was they wanted to ramp it up as hard as they could because
We don't need that.
We don't. We do not need.
I wasn't invested in all these planets. I was invested in the story of these characters.
I'm fine with the idea of the technology could get smaller, so
Yeah.
we can just put it on a big fucking ship
It's
now.
everyone has always talked about how Death Star New Hope. Okay, another Death Star in Return of the Jedi. That kind of going back to old
It's
ground.
like
it kinda hurts that
poetry. It
movie.
rhymes.
Yeah.
And then, all right, another Death Star in Force Awakens. Okay, but please don't do it again. Now we have 1,000 Death Stars.
Yeah, you don't need one.
Yep.
You have all of them,
Which, fuck you. Fuck you.
and their canon is their weak point.
Man, I know I've exaggerated only a little bit in my exasperation, but there are some
I'm
choices.
not exaggerating,
Yeah,
by the
there are some choices in this film that are maddeningly bad, and that is all the way at the top. It is one of the dumbest, most unnecessary choices that these movies make because again, what they wanted to do was ratchet up the threat. And you know what? I'm a Dragon Ball fan. I know what happens when you do that too fucking hard.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, no one
That's
gives a
what
shit.
happens.
Because again, this story wasn't about these
that's the thing.
planets. It wasn't
Okay,
about the
yeah.
Star Destroyers. It was about the characters.
And let me make a note from a writing perspective. When you make the threat, if we don't do this, the Empire
Everything
always
will
wins,
die.
Everything will die. You know the good guys are gonna win.
Yep.
I mean, you kind of go into that knowing the good guys
Well, that's
are
the
going
thing.
to win.
Let's say the story was more personal. It was about Rey and Kylo. You don't know if Rey's gonna make
About whose side, like
Yeah.
where do you
don't
think
know
they're
if-
going to
we
end
didn't-
up?
We legitimately going
We
the movie.
didn't.
We knew that was part of the story. We didn't know what was going to happen there.
Yes.
You focus on that, the part that people are actually in suspense about.
Yeah, like, so there was one scene where I was legitimately curious how they were going to handle it, which is where Palpatine is saying, "You will kill me," and she has her fucking lightsaber up, and there's a part of me that's like, are they fucking brave enough to have Rey actually, and, you know, brave, okay, are they ballsy enough to actually have Rey kill him? Are we gonna, would they do that? And I was wondering because at this point, it felt like nothing, they could have done it. And I was just in suspense. Is Rey going to kill Palpatine? She doesn't, but it's still a moment.
She kind
Okay,
of does.
okay.
Yes. Which
But-
I will say, in the final act, the way they do the good guys winning is so weirdly Michael Bay and how brutal and disgusting it is. In how they kill off the bad guys, it doesn't feel like good guys winning to me when that happens. Like,
Well, I mean, Palpatine super gets Raiders of the Lost Ark face melted.
and it's like when the good guy's doing that to somebody, it doesn't feel right to me. And then big rocks killing all these random rogue guys that we never see the faces of.
It's all the Snoke clones.
And then we see like it's pretty gruesome. And when the heroes win, in Star Wars, a gruesome death feels wrong. Like
nobody lost a hand.
yeah,
If in its defense,
that's more of a nitpick on my side.
yeah.
That's fine. Like I was fine with how it ended. Frankly,
You obviously gave up.
Well, I mean, I had given up and submitted by the end
Yeah.
because I'm just like, look at him go using Force lightning on literally the entire thing. Like,
Oh my God.
fucking kill them all, take them down, Empire wins.
Which, by the way, in the third act, there's so many twists that happen.
You get whiplash a bit.
Yeah, like, all right, it's like, oh no, I didn't want you to die at all, Ray. You're my granddaughter. I want you to take the throne.
I
Which,
want you to take my soul.
From a
and take my
from
spirit.
characterization perspective, I was like, all right, that's fine, I guess. And like, I still don't want Palpatine in the movie, but I didn't mind that motivation. And then it's like, she's like, no,
I'm
a
not
Jedi.
gonna do it. It's like, oh,
He's like, no, you don't see. You see, look, all the Sith guys live in me. When you kill me, you'll be all the Sith. Which I'm not sure if they're implying it literally or metaphorically.
have you read the Darth Bane trilogy?
I have not.
Oh, I'm one up on you then.
Yeah.
Because there is lore in that about how Darth Bane is able to push his soul into another unwilling body, like Super Orochimaru them, in order to continue his lineage. So there is Sith lore in the idea of soul transference.
Okay, but they just sort of
I love the roll off of that. All right.
yeah, they just sort of say that all of a sudden, and then Kylo Ren and Rey come in, and you're like, okay, so this is the end. They're facing him together. That means they win. And he's like, no, actually, I wanted you guys together because I'm the Emperor. Fuck you. I'm
gonna
taking
steal your life force.
And for some reason, two of them being together and their connection means better life force. So he
somehow
gets
less
younger.
resistance?
He gets his fingers back.
he gets his fingers back and he gets younger and he looks like, I mean, Ian McDermott.
The same,
So-
like,
but he has yellow eyes again.
yeah, and it's like, and then like he's like, yeah, no, that was the plan the whole time.
Well,
which was the
okay,
plan? I
okay.
don't
I
understand.
think he's think he's improvising. He's like,
Maybe.
oh, that's not gonna work, so I'll just do this.
At that point, it definitely feels like,
Well, fuck it. You know, I was just gonna
Yeah,
let
it's
you.
I was gonna let you be the Empress, but whatever.
It's extremely unclear.
Yeah.
Is the point because it's moving so fucking fast.
yeah,
And-
because you can't tell what was planned by Palpatine and what is just him like, well, fuck it, fine. I guess I'll just take
It
care of
felt like they almost didn't have a script for that part. They were just like,
Right.
what would happen if they did this now?
It's a Commedia dell'arte. They just
Yeah.
sort of.
Also, you can tell that J.J. Abrams took one thing from The Last Jedi because he fucking loved it, because audiences actually, like, if there was anything from The Last Jedi that I saw that was universally loved, it was Kylo and Ren. Kylo and Rey being able to talk to each other telepathically, and he fucking like, oh my god, okay, that's half the movie now. That's half the movie now.
He actually built on it.
I say he built on it badly though.
I don't think it was great, but at least
Like,
that Emperor scene itself had a
now it's
conclusion
something
to it.
that was somewhat
Or a build-up
implied.
to it.
It's something that was somewhat implied in Last Jedi, which is that okay, so multiple times when Rey and Kylo Ren are interacting with each other, they can just teleport something that's with the other one to them.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating in terms of like,
I don't hate it, but also like it just sort of happens,
Yeah.
and then it keeps happening.
And it
it
happens
becomes a
more
plot
and
point.
more, and by the time that like there's the big reveal of it happening, it's like I already know what's going to happen.
Also,
that was implied as a possibility in Last Jedi. I will
Yeah.
be fair.
Yeah,
Because there's
no.
that point where Kylo Ren.
I'm going to say this. I didn't have a problem with any of that.
I just think it was a bit too much.
for one reason, for one very specific reason. How? They explained in The Last Jedi that the only reason they're able to do it was because Snoke was bridging the two.
Well,
Is Palpatine doing the same thing?
I think it's always implied that Palpatine has been the power.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah,
In this movie, that's specifically what they imply.
And I'll say
Yeah.
my only problem with with them continuing the mind talking thing is that it was heavily implied at the end of Last Jedi that she was severing their connection. When she closes the door of the Millennium Falcon on him, that heavily implies, like visually, that she's severing their personal connection.
But the first time they do it in this is because she has like a connection to the dark side, or she has like she's touching like
Vader's. He touches Vader's helmet, and then like they kind of.
he's channeling shit. Like there's.
But that doesn't really like they don't. It just sort of happens. A lot of things in this movie just sort of happen.
I mean, here's like. you always like there's always going to be one thing that you can make an excuse in Star Wars, and that's like it's fantasy.
Yeah,
They have big bullshit magic. Literally, the Force in Star Wars canon is the force that holds the whole universe together and makes it work.
And the thing, as someone who loves Last Jedi, I am absolutely willing to go down that road. I just think the difference for me is something that's important to me, especially in Star Wars, which is in Star Wars, characters come first usually. Plot is supposed to be secondary almost all the time.
Yeah.
And this movie is all plot and light on character. Kylo Ren and Rey are the only ones that get character in this, and that's because everybody else's character arc has kind of been dealt with, except for, I guess, Poe, who they decide to give like a little mini B plot character which that should have been the whole movie, but whatever. So the thing is, even Kylo Ren. I'm on record as saying I have a video about it. How I don't think Kylo Ren should have gotten a redemption arc. I felt like they should have gone or if they did, it should have been handled not like this. But at the very least, don't rush it. And in this one, it feels like it just sort of fucking happens because we know this is gonna happen.
Well, and the biggest problem is you spend 2 films building him up to be the bad guy. And then half, 2/3 of a film.
It seems like it takes the lightest push to make him a good guy.
Yeah, exactly. It took kindness from Rey,
which she's already shown him.
Yeah, also, okay, look,
a push from his mama. Also,
I'm not.
Which
yes,
I did hate that. That was also taken from the EU. That's how Jason Solo died.
I was gonna say. So I'm not a huge Star Wars guy. Like I've seen all of the films. I've seen Clone Wars. I've seen some of Rebels, but I wasn't a fan. I've not read any of the EU. I'm not all that into it. What's up with the Force healing? Is that just a thing?
That's a thing.
By the way, that's why some mild spoilers for The Mandalorian right now.
Yeah,
that's why they aired it early.
It's like we're showing you this is possible.
It exists.
Baby, the baby Yoda heals a guy.
Oh, okay. All right, that's
they showed off that exact power, and that's why they released it early.
And in the EU, there is Force healing.
Now she does explain it lightly. She says, "I give them a little bit of my life energy.
Yes,
help them out."
But
and there's a mild payoff to it in the end too.
Yes, that's fine. Like honestly, that's one of those things that I'm okay. I'm willing to go with that. I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this stuff, a lot of these problems, which I still have a list. I might want to go off with a list of good things before I end this off. But
okay.
Because I still have I haven't covered any good things, but because we've just been complaining. But
yeah, you know what?
I would have been okay with all these not all these problems, but I would have been okay with a lot of problems if I felt that there was a satisfying emotional arc in this movie. There's not a single one.
No.
Not one. Like Rey gets the closest to a satisfying arc, and even then, it kind of.
Like I said, I felt like zero emotion outside of just some form of general elation when I'm watching the Emperor do his thing.
Shit! You know what this movie feels like to me?
Huh?
At World's End, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Ooh.
Oh.
Tonally,
yeah.
This is at World's End.
I could see that. I can see that.
Too much is going on. Characters just sort of leave and die for no reason. Like stuff just sort of happens.
From the very beginning of this movie, it felt like it was sprinting to try to get it over with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a bummer. I wanted to just try its best to be a good individual movie, and it didn't do that.
I like the Han Solo scene. I gotta put it out there. That scene actually.
Harrison Ford did a better job acting in that scene than he did through all of Force Awakens, and I think he did a good job in Force Awakens.
Yeah, I actually teared up at that scene because after hearing from his mom and then talking to his dad, while I do kind of still feel like Kylo was rushed. In that one scene,
that one moment, and that's sold entirely on the acting of those.
Yes, absolutely.
It also has a lot to do, when the death of Kylo Ren. He has an actual literal death. He gets impaled.
Yes. So, and that's why that worked for me. Is because watching him get stabbed, defeated, just flat out, he loses that fight because of Leia and Rey working together, and then being brought back from the brink of death by the person who could have just left him there to die because she was good enough to do that. Yes, okay, you know what?
I was okay with that.
Yeah, that hit me emotionally, and I was like, you know what? The death of Kylo Ren. that's good.
Not everything about this movie is bad. That's the thing, and that's why a lot of people are going to like this movie because the bad stuff is not going to outweigh the good for them.
I liked a lot of the. Okay. Almost everything that I liked was Rey scenes. I didn't like almost anything else. If the movie had focused solely on,
I liked a lot of the scenes with the trio together.
Yeah, but it also
technically
Rey.
that.
I loved her journey. This was her journey. She was the protagonist of this trilogy, inarguably.
Yes, absolutely.
And just watching her at when she did Force lightning, I'm like, oh shit! And then it blows up a ship. I'm like, oh, that's stronger than I thought it would be. All right.
I will say, since we're talking about things that made us cry, you didn't cry at all. You didn't.
I felt zero emotions.
Yeah,
I was Vulcan.
I was mostly just sort of okay with it. What the point that made me actually tear up, and this is dorky and stupid, but I teared up for Chewie.
Oh,
when
yeah.
he finds out Leia's dead, he flips out because that's his last friend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Poor Chewie.
He just lost.
His species lives centuries, though. To him, it's like losing a dog, which is also sad.
Damn,
but
bro.
this was a group of people who
they were really good
the
dogs.
most important years of his life were with these people.
Yeah,
and
he owed one of them a life debt.
And he's lost everybody then.
Yeah,
and it felt really bad for Chewie in that moment.
Yeah.
I will say though. And he even lost 3PO at that time. But here's what that brings me to another criticism. Another criticism, which is that this movie starts to make a brave choice and then immediately backpedals within a few minutes.
It doesn't want to offend anybody.
Yeah, what the fuck? Okay, so that moment where it seems like Rey has accidentally killed Chewie because she let the dark side control her. I was like, wow, that's an actual choice. That seems like
they were never going to give Chewie an off-screen death.
Yeah, no. The fact is, it was
not that you want to see Chewie burning on fire or anything,
but for a split second, I was like, hey, that would mean something, and I was like, they're going to undo it instantly, and then they did. But then 3PO.
It's okay. That was the weirdest scene too, because they do it in a scene where he's a prisoner, he's about to be tortured, and they're playing this triumphant Chewie's alive music. Take him to be tortured. Oh,
but he's alive. Yeah, but
they play happy music.
They did.
But yeah, so they make a brave choice there, and then they undo it. 3PO getting his memory wiped. He's like, you know what? If 3PO loses memory here, I'll be sad. And he does for a while, and then they completely undo it. And it's like, and I called it before it happened too. It's like the R2's gonna have memories in there.
Well, I mean, they check out gun it.
Yeah, they
immediately
say,
"Oh, I would never back up my memory with him. He's unreliable." Fuck 3PO. I've always hated 3PO.
Well, and you also have a thing with the actor. I heard you.
Oh yeah.
He was notoriously mean to
Kenny Baker. Yeah. But yeah, I like 3PO the character, and I liked they made sure to give him a lot of lines to endear you to him again. After ignoring him for 2 movies,
he's always comic relief. At least in this, he's not shitty comic relief like he was in Empire. He was the worst in Empire.
I mean, okay, yeah, he's actually way worse in the first 3 films than you'd think he is.
Mostly Empire. Yeah. He's awful in Empire.
But I actually didn't like him in this movie, not because of the character that he had, but because of how everyone treated him. Mm-hmm. I was like, damn. Look, guys, I understand that he's kind of useless, but either leave him at home or treat him like you're a friend. Because seriously, he's actually
they're doing him a little too much.
He's a person.
No, he's a tool. He's a robot.
He has feelings.
He is sentient. He has feelings.
Okay, he has friends.
And it's established that part of the reason Rey's a good person is because she's nice to droids.
Yeah. And the fact that this movie leans into everyone except for Rey, for the most part, treating him like shit. And when it's, oh man.
Are these the good guys or not?
By the way, when it comes down to C-3PO having to kill himself, because that's effectively what that is, by the way.
Yeah.
If you lose your memory, you die. You are dead.
Yeah, that's
I loved the little baby droid hacker dude though.
He was great, yeah.
I liked that.
Him showing up in the third act was stupid.
But Poe, at that point, it's fans.
Hold on, I gotta say this.
Poe's shitty.
Yeah. Poe, you fucking asshole. You don't get to look at somebody in the eye and say, do we have a choice but for you to kill yourself?
Well, no,
technically,
Rey's the person who's says, hey, 3PO, what do you think we need to do here?
Yeah.
She's the one who actually asks his opinion.
And they do mention that R2-D2 might have a copy of his memories.
Yeah, and then they hand wave it away real quick. But it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well,
But of course he does.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Now that
but
you mention it,
but
yes,
that-
he has it.
But that's the thing. Like, I would have preferred if he didn't. I would have preferred if there were some consequences.
Yeah.
Like, they set up consequences, then just backpedal.
Well, here's
Don't
the
set up an
thing.
interesting
They're
thing if you're gonna
only
do it.
allowed to get rid of one of the original cast per movie.
Well, that's stupid.
But it seems to be the plot, or
Yeah.
that seems to be the way of it.
But yeah, like, it's one of those things where, like, don't introduce an interesting idea and then undo it.
Yeah.
That feels cheap.
You can fake our death out maybe once in a movie.
Once.
You can't do it like 3 damn times.
Yeah, which they did a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
a lot of fake outs.
And I do have to say this though. Oh my God! Thank God they killed Kylo. Oh my God.
Well, they needed
Oh
to get
my
rid of
God.
all of the Skywalkers in order for there to be a Rise of Skywalker.
By Okay, I'll talk about that in a sec, but I'm really, really glad that they killed Kylo. Because at the end there, when he saves Rey, there's this part of me that was like, I swear to God, if they're both alive by the end of
Yeah,
this.
he needed to die in order for that to be in any way a decent
Yeah.
ending at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I would have been okay with them growing up to have super amazing Force babies.
yeah, they also yeah, they just flat like they
They kissed. And
I hate it. I hated it.
It made me uncomfortable. I
Yep.
don't like it.
I hated it so much.
I didn't hate it. I
never
didn't
felt
particularly enjoy it. I was just like, oh, they paid that off.
Yeah, I never felt Raylo in my bones.
Is it because Kylo spent so much time treating her like shit?
That's definitely
Their first
the
scene
reason.
together, he's literally trying to mind rape her. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's that uncomfortableness.
Yeah,
but
he negs her throughout all of the movies. He tries to manipulate her.
Yeah.
He gaslights her.
He's downright abusive.
Yeah.
No,
he's a shitty guy.
It's not a relationship that should have happened. It's
but
one
no.
it's one of those things where people look at Harley and Joker and think that's a good
But
relationship.
it's okay because they also undid anything interesting by having Palpatine be talking in Kylo's head this whole time. So he wasn't actually dark side.
Yeah, he wasn't
It
actually
was just
bad.
because of Palpatine.
And remember,
you.
she didn't kiss Kylo. She kissed Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I was always against. Well, Palpatine's just been manipulating this whole time because they kept saying like Snoke's been talking in his mind and Snoke manipulated him. What if he's just not a good person? What if it's his fault?
That
he's
is a
like this?
far better movie.
It's
That is
more
a far
interesting
better
that
premise.
way.
That is far. That is way.
If he's an actual person with conflict,
Yeah,
exactly.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Look, the dark side of the Force, yes, that influences people, but it isn't it isn't some shadowy figure locked up in a fucking tower manipulating people to be
The
chess
devil
pieces.
made me do it.
I mean, sure.
It's not like Worm Tongue and Sauron.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
like,
it definitely happens.
Saruman.
It definitely happens, but it should not happen with one of your main protagonists / antagonists
with the core struggle
because that removes their what do you
agency.
agency.
Yeah.
You've removed their actual development because you have like
It's less interesting. It's just inherently less interesting.
yes
That was a problem that I had in Force Awakens with Kylo. It's like I don't understand why he's why
Yeah, and then Last Jedi, it's kinda just like-
it's obvious
yeah.
that he wants power, and at least in the Last Jedi, they're like, oh, he thought Luke turned on him, and
Yeah,
Luke was
they gave him
turning
an
on
actual
him. So it's
reason.
like, okay,
The thing
that
I like-
makes sense.
Yeah, the thing I liked about The Last Jedi, and this ties together with a lot of this stuff, is that The Last Jedi is about how we deal with trauma and the shittiness of the world. It's all about the world is shit. How you respond to it and what you do is the most important part.
Yeah.
Rey is optimism. She is strength, where Kylo is supposed to be pessimism and shit sucks, so burn it all down. That is the difference between those two characters.
And them actually having a real ideological difference instead of one just being mind
Dark side and light side.
like brainwashed.
That's why, man. Like that's why the end of The Last Jedi, that burn the Sith to the ground, the Jedi are no more. What can come of that? No, let's do away with that. Jedi and Sith.
That was such
Sith and
an
Jedi.
interesting
Here's some new
setup.
Sith troopers. Buy them.
Yeah, that's the thing. That was such an interesting setup for our next movie, and that's what I was excited about. And this
A
movie
world
undid all of it.
world free of these two religious orders,
Yeah,
essentially.
it's like okay, so we have an interesting movie being promised here, and then we don't get a movie that's actually
I hope
interesting.
you saw something on your notes.
Yeah, I
that he
noticed
has.
something. I just realized we did talk about a lot of the stuff that we didn't like, and I guess there was a lot. We also
I have
there
stuff
was-
here.
Yeah, please, dude, talk about the stuff that you
I'll
like.
read off some of the stuff I liked because it's been over an hour. We got to wrap it up. So.
All right,
Yeah,
no
go
worries.
ahead.
So I liked Hux being a spy, and I liked his reason for being a spy.
Actually, yes. Okay.
I thought that was kind of great.
I felt like the payoff to that was like meh. Like they
payoff was-
literally brushed him under the rug.
Conceptually, I really liked it.
Yeah, the payoff sort like it's a give or take. Either you love how brash they do away with him, or you hate it.
I love that he's a brat.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. I mean, he literally destroyed 5 planets. So
Yes. No. Like his death, he had it coming.
Yeah, and I was
But it
thinking
should have been worse.
when he first revealed he was a spy. I was like, okay, but he was instrumental in destroying these planets. It's like, oh no, he's not a good guy. He just fucking hates Kylo Ren.
Also,
Yes.
why was he in command of Starkiller Base yet now he's reporting to people? It's weird.
I think it's implied just that Starkiller Base was his project that he was working on.
Oh yeah, he's been demoted.
But Grand Moff Tarkin was in charge of the Death Star because he was one of literally the top military official. He was like the admiral of admirals.
I'm pretty sure he's been demoted.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
very
under Kylo Ren,
it's
he
very
probably
possible
would
that Kylo Ren would be
not-
like, I'm busting you straight down to sergeant, motherfucker.
Yeah, he's always following around someone else now because I think he was demoted, but they didn't really establish that.
Yeah.
But I liked that little alien festival at the beginning. That was fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
Alien
yeah.
Burning Man?
That was great.
Yeah, actually, that was cool. I
liked that as a setting. I liked it.
Whenever they do world building stuff like that, I'm always cool with that. I actually like that. I liked
I wish we'd
most
spend
of the
more time
I liked most of the scenes on that planet.
Yeah. If that was the whole first act was on that planet, that would have been cool.
Yeah, actually, that was not bad.
If the movie was actually focused and on actual 3-act structure. But I liked most of the new characters that showed up, even though they didn't get to do much.
Oh yeah.
Also, they super gave Poe a case of the not gays.
Yes, I was going to bring that up too. They specifically did this. This is a J.J. Abrams.
But it's
consistent
okay
thing
because they had 2 girls kissing in the background at the end.
But they specifically gave Poe a case of the not gays, which is just like,
Which,
wow.
you know what? I'd still like to point out that by the end of the film, Poe and fucking Finn are still being bros. And I remember both Quinn and I were just sitting there, and they're like, they give each other a hug, they back off, and we're like, okay now.
I will say I loved I loved actually the trio hug.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
at the end. That was perfect.
Even though Rey has had literally 2 scenes with Poe and they were in this movie.
Yeah, and I will say though, I like their interactions with each other were actually great. I love that they kind of don't get along.
Yes, actually.
That was really fun.
Yeah,
they actually had great chemistry together as actors, and I wish there was more of it.
Actually, yeah. Throughout this entire film, oh my god, I
actors
love their
have
chemistry. I love
Yeah.
their back and forth. They feed into each other's strengths and their weaknesses, and so they can be really supportive, but they bicker, and it's great. I liked the 3 of them.
So yeah, like most of the, and like Kerry Russell, her character in The Mask, like was nice enough.
She was
She
cool.
didn't get enough to do. She didn't get enough to flesh her out.
She'll be
but
in the
she was-
extended universe.
Yeah.
She'll show up in the Mandalorian.
I loved every scene with her though, because she had this attitude. I like when she's like talking to Ray, not like you care, but I think you're all right. And Ray's response is great. I do care. It's like, no, I care.
Yeah, well, and yeah, she was a fun character. She didn't get a lot to do though.
Yeah,
She still didn't belong in the movie.
other stormtrooper lady who is, man,
Why did they change Phasma's ending in Last Jedi
Why?
now? Because like
What?
she's not even in this movie.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm sorry.
Wait, did they change her ending?
There was a deleted scene in
Yep.
Last Jedi that was way better.
Way
And a
fucking
definitive
better.
ending for Phasma, where Finn calls her out for actually turning off the shields in Starkiller Base and betraying stuff, and she has to like shoot her own men because they realize she betrayed them back in Starkiller
That's-
Base.
I would have
It was
liked
an
that a
amazing
lot better.
scene.
I never saw it.
We'll show
It's-
you this after this. It's
Okay.
a great scene.
It's amazing. It is
and
a spectacular
they changed it
scene.
to a different scene, which is like, oh well, it's a little
She
more
falls into a
ambiguous.
fiery pit.
And like, so I guess they're gonna bring her back, and they didn't. So
No.
like, they should have just had the better scene that they originally filmed.
By the way,
She got Boba Fetted super hard.
Yeah,
She
that-
looked really
She
cool and
didn't
was
in-
nothing.
Yeah, she didn't get Boba Fetted in that one scene. Like,
yeah, she was
she
actually
was showing off how badass she was, and she was defeated in a good way.
She was one of those characters that I was waiting for the payoff, and we never got it. And that,
Except in a deleted scene.
yeah, except for a deleted scene, that was way better.
But that's
yeah,
neither
anyway.
here nor there. I just the action was like okay, passable.
Oh yeah, actually yes.
Wasn't great, wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I liked the lightsaber duel on the corpse of the Death Star. I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
It's all so. If I can be honest with you, it's not a bad fight, but it's also like a lot of wide shots, and
Yeah,
it's
it's
more about.
thoroughly- it's thoroughly
liked
passable.
actually.
It's thoroughly passable, like
Yeah.
the entire movie. There's never a bad action scene. It's just not.
I wish
mind-blowing.
they had done more with Rey facing her reflection. Like I liked
Yeah.
that scene, but they
I bet you that was much longer in an original cut.
Also, that scene is freaky as fuck.
It's cool.
But I
Yeah,
do.
I loved her version of a dark.
It was like,
well,
Oh, yeah.
not that part. That part was stupid.
it was stupid, but I laughed. I thought it was fun.
The Bilbo part was stupid, but the part where she's like, "Don't worry," like she's still
be who
talking
you
really
are.
nice,
She,
but
like, and-
evil. That was actually
and
chilling.
she had a really cool lightsaber, like a folding one.
Evil Darkseid Rey is she can get it.
Oh, that too, I guess. And yeah, I noted this already, but Rey's new lightsaber looked great. I loved it.
Yeah.
Like, it looked cool.
With the yellow blade
It's
at the
actually-
very
and
end.
like it had a little dial
Yeah.
to turn it on. It was fun.
Yeah.
maybe she can control the length of it. Like,
Yeah.
Should have been in the whole movie.
I love it. And yes, I would have liked it to have been introduced either
especially since she didn't have a lightsaber at the end of the last movie.
Yeah, and I also I like ending on her saying that she's Rey Skywalker. I think that is actually a good idea.
I think
don't think
it was
earned in
okay.
this
I definitely don't think she would have embraced Palpatine. That's,
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I would have loved that. Who are you?
Rey Palpatine.
Right? No, she goes, "I'm Rey." She looks over, she's Palpatine's ghost.
Palpatine. Him standing there next to Ghost Anakin, just like,
I'll say I didn't need those ghosts. I didn't need the ghosts of Leia and
No,
Luke there.
no.
She could have just said it.
Yeah.
where was Kylo's ghost?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where was Ben's
No,
ghost?
where was Ben's ghost?
Maybe he doesn't know how to do it. Qui-Gon never taught him.
No, he's too Sith. He was
Yeah.
like he. Unfortunately, you have to be a certain amount of
The fan service at the very end, like it was a bit much. You don't need to show a Death Star crashing in Bespin. Nobody gives a shit about Bespin.
That's one of the things I needed to bring up. The ending of this movie, when they should, it's Independence Day.
Yep.
Why-
It's just the ending of Independence Day.
Why was there still a military presence at Endor, a nowhere back end, nothing part of space? The reason they built the Death Star there is because it's untraveled. It has no military importance.
Just fucking, and yeah, I just couldn't get over it while I was watching. I was like, this is the ending to Independence Day. The Americans have done it. Da, da,
Well,
da,
to be fair,
da,
it's
da,
also
da,
the
da.
ending of Return of the Jedi. So,
Oh my God. No,
where
it's-
everybody's watching things blow up and like,
That's only the extended version of Return of the Jedi.
the only version of Return of the Jedi.
Is there anything else pertinent that we want to get out before we gotta?
Yeah, we gotta wrap it up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Things I liked. I honestly like. I'm an Emperor Mark. You know I'm an Emperor
See,
Mark.
and I'm not.
And that's fine. I liked
so
the
you got
third
your
act
your
because-
fan service.
Yeah, that third act was like, you know what, fine. I'm fine with this fan service. I think it was an awful way to end this saga. The Skywalker saga. I think it was a bad way to end that. Sure, there are no more Skywalkers except for the one that claims to be, but
Yeah.
it's
See, and I will say, let me just say real quick. Like her saying she's Rey Skywalker has some actual meaning behind it, right?
Yeah.
She is passing down
metaphysically. She is a Skywalker because she.
Yeah,
she was raised
she's
by
basically
the Skywalkers.
she was basically raised by Luke and Leia at separate times.
Is it implied that Lando like dropped her off or some shit? Because like the ship was there, but no. Then you also see her parents.
I think she just went to live there. Like,
Yeah. Actually,
on Jakku. I meant.
I don't know.
you know what? You just made me feel a little bit better about the Skywalker thing because you know what? You're right.
Thematically, it's actually
Yeah,
a rich.
yeah. No, that's fine. I was
you know
okay
what?
with it.
I changed my back to okay.
Yeah, thematically it's a good choice. I just wish they had earned that a bit more. But
Yeah.
The best example, like this is the best way I can put it as a Dragon Ball fan. If the prequels were GT, this is super. Like this trilogy is super.
So still
it
bad.
has highs, but it also has some really low lows
Yeah.
and a ending.
I would say,
Yeah,
like,
you know what? That's accurate.
I would say I think this trilogy has two good movies in it, and then this movie. And I will say I think the biggest problem with this movie and the way they were thinking about it, from my perspective, I can't speak to their actual intent, but they keep saying this is the end of the Skywalker saga, and I think that was the problem. This should have been the end of Rey and Kylo's story. It should not have been the end of everything.
Every single movie up until this
Because that's the
point.
only reason Palpatine's in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
I can't. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of people out there who are going to absolutely love all the Jedi speaking to Rey. I think Ahsoka was in there.
She was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have liked that in different circumstances.
Under different circumstances, this big fucking shonen hero moment would have been really cool. But I'm just sitting back here going, "This is dumb. This is so."
I was always just kind of waiting for her to like, ever since the end of Last Jedi, just like fuck the Jedi, fuck the Sith, take control of Palpatine's lightning and just bring it down on him. I don't know. Like, that's what I thought that was good. Like, she was going to start containing shit or something.
Unfortunately, they were never going to embrace Grey Jedi.
No.
Nope.
I mean, they did. They do it with Ahsoka, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I legitimately thought that we were going to get that out of with The Last Jedi. I thought there was a possibility we were actually going to go into the realm of no, it's not black and white. That's stupid. But nope. It's the light versus the dark.
Yeah. Last Jedi obviously thinks Grey Jedi are great. And then this movie just drops it.
I liked a lot of things Rian Johnson has done. I'm still not particularly a huge fan of Last Jedi.
Yeah,
I think I enjoy Last Jedi more than I enjoy Rise of Skywalker. But at the end of the day, you guys make your own decisions.
Yeah.
Did you like it? Let us know what you thought.
Yeah.
Disney's still getting my money. I mean, they got my $200 for this. I went and built it myself.
They can't make me hate Star Wars, but
I will continue to consume, but I really hope they don't make another movie for a few years.
I'm gonna need a break.
Yeah,
they need a very long break. I'll just keep watching The Mandalorian and all the supplemental shit they come out with. I don't know.
Yeah, and I want to say before we wrap up, just I again, like, we talked about how much we love The Last Jedi. Some people will be like, if you don't love it, that's great, that's fine. You don't have to. This movie didn't necessarily need to be a direct sequel to Last Jedi tonally. It just
needed to be a direct sequel, literally.
It just needed to be a direct sequel, literally. It needed to not just say, well,
the dead speak!
Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry.
Sorry, this is very important.
Okay, sorry.
Please do,
please. I hate this movie, but do not do what shitty people did after Last Jedi. Don't harass anybody. Don't harass J.J. Abrams. Don't harass the actors. Don't harass
Otherwise, the next movie is going to be even worse.
Yeah, just don't harass people. That's a shitty thing to do, no matter why you're doing it.
Yeah. Also, buy Rose.
If you do that, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. So I guess at the end of the day, be good people.
Yeah.
Don't be shitty. May the Force be with you. And I guess I'll go back to playing.
I'm just turning this off.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah. Put that back on. Put the lightsaber and there we go. Like, look sad again, because it'll be like poetry. It'll rhyme.
They got rid of Rose. They just removed her.
She was the worst part.